Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to the all participants, the second lecture for today will be delivered by Dr. Datuk Ary Adriansyah Samsura STMSC from Radboud University Netherlands with the topic Developing Integrity and Critical Thinking Skills in Academic Writing. And also, I would like to introduce our moderator, Dr. Anda Sri Mulyani MBA AKCA. Dr. Randa Sri Mulyani is a senior lecturer in accounting study program at Universitas Sumatera Utara. She obtained her Bachelor of Accounting from Universitas Sumatera Utara and Master of Business Administration from University of Central Arkansas, USA. To Dr. Randa Sri Mulyani, MBA AKCA, the time is yours.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. The first, I want to say that I very appreciate that to Dr. Datuk Ary Adriansyah Samsura, STMSE. Our topic today is developing integrity and critical thinking skills in academic writing. Before we start, I will introduce for Mr. Ary. Our speaker today is Dr. Insinyur Ary Adriansyah Samsura. He is assistant professor in Nijmegen, the Netherlands. From the education is from Nijmegen School of Management, Radboud University at the Netherlands in 2013. His MSc in Engineering and Policy Analysis, Faculty of Technology, Policy and Management, Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands in 27. And it's interesting, the Bachelor of Engineering, he got in Faculty of Civil Engineering and Planning, Institute Technology of Bandung, ITB, Indonesia in 2002. So many experience that I read from the CV. He is conduct the research as a researcher and lecturer from 2012 until now. In Department of Geography, Spatial Planning and Environment, Radboud University Nijmegen, the Netherlands. and he is also as a lecturer from 2018 until now in doctoral program of environmental science, Faculty of Environmental Science and Technology, Sugi Japaranata, Catholic University, Semarang, Indonesia. As a researcher since 20,000 2004 in Urban and Regional Development Institute, URDI Jakarta, Indonesia. As engineer in PT Angkasa Pura and as a planner in BPPT in Indonesia. And he is also a member of many of professional membership, like member of Regional Studies Association, member of European Real Estate Society, member of International Academic Association in Planning, Law, and Property Rights, and senior fellow researchers at Resilience Development Initiative, RDI. Many academic activities, such as research project, I cannot read because it need time to read it because it's too much activity, I think, too many activity. He also involved in international event and invited lecturer, and also supervision of PhD students, and as trainer too in many countries, such Indonesia, Rotterdam, at Rotterdam. Yeah, too many activity, I think. Yeah. And so many voluntary involvement. And list of publication. Many publication she is conduct during during his activities. Maybe to make not too much time, I think. Yeah, we will start the presentation today. I will give time to Mr. Ary Adriansyah. Take your time, please.
All right. Thank you, Bu Sri Mulyani, for your generous introduction. So, yeah, first of all, I would like to thank the committee, the Faculty of Economic and Business at Universitas Sumatera Utara, more specifically the accounting study program, for inviting me to this event, because I think for all lecturers who give lectures and presentation in this event, I'm the only one who doesn't have any accounting background. So I don't have any, as already mentioned by Bu Sri Mulyani, my education, academic training, or trainings were mostly in urban planning or spatial planning, we call, or in Indonesia we call it perencanaan wilayah dan kota. But since my topic at the moment, as asked by the committee, is about academic writing, how to develop integrity and critical thinking in academic writing. So I suppose any academics or all academics should know about this. So I will not talk about my expertise in urban planning, of course, because this is not the event for that. But I will share with you my experience, some experience I have related to academic writing, because across my career as academic, of course, as any academics in the world, so I also in USU, so we have to produce something, we have to write something, and it should fall into the criteria of integrity, and we should also develop our critical thinking while we are doing or we are producing papers or piece of writing as academics. So I think, oh yes, I can share my slides now. Can you all see my slides? Yeah.
Yes.
Is
Yes,
it
sir.
clear? Yeah.
It's
All
clear.
right. So as I mentioned, so my talk today, I hope I can fill these 2 hours because it's quite long, 2 hours. And I know this is actually the hardest time for you to follow a lecture. I always hate, for me, it's fine because it's morning. So I just had my coffee here. So, but for you, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I always hate to have a lecture and also to give lecture at that time, because usually only for after lunch. So especially in Indonesia, so we have very nice weather, always summer in Indonesia. So during summertime, it's really hard usually to get focused to hear a lecture for 2 hours from 2 o'clock. So, but I hope you can bear with me. So here the contents of my talk today is on based on the title is developing integrity and critical thinking skills in academic writing. So there are at least 3 things based on this title is given to me by the committee that I would like to discuss together with you. First is about academic writing, of course. And the second is about critical thinking, specifically in academic research and writing. And the last thing is about academic integrity. What is critical thinking and what is academic integrity? But first of all, so we will discuss a little bit about academic writing, even though I know, so I believe most of you already quite familiar with academic writing and even perhaps also with critical thinking and academic integrity. But let us together refresh our mind so we can, again, in the end, we can try to implement critical thinking and academic integrity in academic writing as academia. But I suppose most of you are students, right? Or is there any participants who are not students? Can you perhaps raise your hand if you are students? Who are among you actually students? Or all of your students? Some of you also, I think, lecturers. But perhaps who among you are not working or doing activities in academic institution? Is there anyone?
I think they are in academic almost most of them in academic.
Most of the participants are academics. Yeah. So then in that case, so at some certain point in your life, or maybe some points in your life, you will engage in academic writing. So as students, at least once in your lifetime, so if you are only doing academic higher education only one time, so in the end of your academic program, you will produce academic writing as a thesis or dissertation. Yeah. So I suppose so academic writing is not something unfamiliar for you, but yeah, since it's at 2 o'clock, as I mentioned, to make everybody a little bit wake up or do something, because if you just hear from me what I'm going to say, it will be hard because yeah, you can fall asleep. But perhaps first, before I start my talk about academic writing, so please use your cell phone. Take this small quiz. So mention one word that can define or be associated with academic writing. So I suppose everybody has a cell phone. You can go to this URL, or you can also use your cell phone to go to this QR code. Can you do that? And everybody goes to this Mentimeter. All right. So only 3 people. Ah, yes. I see more people actually. So how many participants do we have, Bu Sri?
120, sir.
120. And it's only, yeah, it's more people actually. It's not that hard, right, to connect to the Mentimeter. Ah, yes, okay. Of course. Wait. But perhaps I can also give this URL in the chat. You can also go to the chat of this Zoom and find it there. Just click that and then you participate in the Mentimeter. It seems most of you associated academic writing with formal and well sourced. And nobody actually choose engaging as a characteristic of academic writing. But Sri Mulyani, as a senior academics, as experienced academics,
Yes.
for you yourself, which one do you think the most important characteristic of academic writing? Or which
I think the format and
formal.
Yeah, format.
Do you agree with what the participants have says in here? Had say? Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Bu Sri?
Yes, sir. Because from my experience, there is too many mistakes in format.
Yeah.
Because
and complex and engaging, also part of characteristic of academic writing. We can discuss it together, of course. But when you assess students' academic writing, what would be the first thing you assess, Bus? as a senior academics?
The consistency.
Consistency, yes. Yeah. So it's really important to have consistency. But in here, the students, I suppose most of the students choose the well-sourced as the. I think you can choose more than one, right? In this little quiz. So I made it that you can choose more than one. So only one person mentioned engaging as one of characteristic in academic writing. Yeah, who actually answer engaging in here? Is there anyone? Yeah, there's someone, right? Can you speak up, please? Actually, there's no wrong answer in here.
Yeah. Please, everyone, to answer the question.
Yeah. So who said who choose engaging as a characteristic of academic writing? Oh.
Okay. If
Tushar.
Please raise your hand on the platform.
No. Nobody. It's only one person in here, or maybe he or she too shy because he's the only or she is the only one who answered that question, who choose engaging. But who said well sourced? The 16 people who said well sourced, even though there's 100 participants in our event today, but 16 people. So who are the 16 people who said well sourced or the characteristic of academic writing? Hello? Still too shy? I can imagine one person is a bit shy to raise your hand, but 16. So nobody start. If someone start raising your hand, so I think the rest 15 people will follow. Malik, Wasim. Okay. Jeremy Panjaitan. Yeah. So Pak Malik Wasim, can you tell why you choose well sourced as the characters of academic writing?
Doctor, for allowing me. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah. Why I select this? Because it's a good source. It's if you will go for the well organized, then your academic writing will be secure and perfect, and well established, you can say.
But is there any characteristics from these 6 characteristics that you didn't choose? Or you choose all of them?
Complex.
No, if I remember, I select 3. One
which
logical, formal, and one so.
Well sourced, logical, and what's the other one?
And formal.
Formal, yeah. So you didn't choose
Formal.
consistent, complex, and engaging.
Even though all are good, all link with each other.
But you focus on the first 3, yeah? Formal, well sourced, and logical. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So other, perhaps, can also share your opinion. Please, I don't bite. Hello? Nobody want to share their opinion? Okay.
Hello?
Yes, Yes, please.
My
Please state
name
your
is
name.
Noraida.
Yes.
My name is Noraida from
Yeah.
Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
So nice to see you, Dr. Ary. So it's very
Nice to
interesting
see
session for today. Thank you.
you.
So basically, I think I agree with Malik before
Mm-hmm.
that I also choose him.
Mm-hmm.
First is formal, and
Mm-hmm.
second is well sourced.
Mm-hmm.
Third is what is that?
What
What is
so
that?
well
Another one?
sourced, logical, and
What?
so I can share it again.
Well sourced, well sourced, formal, and so can I
Mm-hmm.
see again?
So well sourced, formal, and logical.
Yeah, and logical. Yes, and logical.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, the sources should be a formal sources. I mean that it must be well written. So that's how it shows our academic our writing is show in academic way. So and second, well sourced it must establish also. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot simply choose sources where it's not established. I mean that maybe from the words of people where we cannot
Yeah.
quote them, right?
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
if the sources come like from the news, from the database, or
Mm-hmm.
from the article, so that is how it shows the level of academically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it must be logic as well. And yeah, for the consistency, complex, and engaging is also important. But
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me to go for the level, which one is the most, I
Mm-hmm.
think it should be the first three ones, formal,
Mm-hmm.
well thought, logical. And the rest also have their own, what you call, connection.
Mm-hmm.
What you call, in academic way, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it must be correlated to each other. You know?
Yeah.
But when we write in academically,
Mm-hmm.
must be well written so that everyone can find the sources easily. Everyone can
Yeah.
access it easily. So
Mm-hmm.
when you say like I quote your name, Dr. Ary said this, so everyone can go through you and refer to that sources.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how it shows academic writing. I think
Yes.
so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Bu Nuraida. Thank you for your explanation. Yes. So I think I will continue my presentation here. Wait, where is it? Yes. Can you see my presentation again? Everybody?
Crystal clear, Doctor.
Yes, all right. Okay. So, yes, we already discussed that together with Pak Malik and Bu Nuraida. So, here, some main characteristics of academic writing. So, I try to compile it from different sources. So, usually, of course, what can be seen as academic writing is about the style. It has certain formal and certain style, right? So I can show you later on what kind of style and how the formal style of academic writing, even though I suppose all of you already quite familiar with that, but we can immediately see academic writing from its style, even though we haven't read it yet. When we see a piece of academic writing, we can also say, okay, this is actually academic writing. This is academic paper, right? When we see the style, which is quite formal and it's quite standard. How it start, how it and what is the second thing. So the structure or the style and the structures is quite formal and it's quite standard, right? We can see it immediately, even though we haven't read the paper yet. And of course, when we read it, it's always has a certain objective, and it should be unbiased, of course, as academic writing. Yeah, and clear and logical, focused and well structured, and also, as mentioned by Bu Nuraida, well sourced is very, very important. So this bullet point is not a rank of order. It doesn't mean that formal tone or style is more important than objective. That's why I put it in bullet points. So it all has the same importance, so to say. Yeah. So well source, of course, very, very important, as Bu Nuraida mentioned, and also Pak Malik mentioned. So we need to know from where, what is the basis for the academic writing. That is different with other type of writing. Yeah. So for instance, opinion in newspaper. So some people said that's also part of academic writing. I said no, because you just mentioned your opinion. Unless you really mention about the source of what is the basis for your opinion, yeah, so that it can perhaps be considered as academic writing. Yeah, but when these characteristics appear in a piece of writing, then you can see this actually academic writing. So academic writing, what is not of academic writing, is not personal, because it should be objective. Yeah, it cannot be too long. If the longest we can get is actually a thesis or a book. Yes, we can have that, but it should be concise usually, and it should not be emotive or grandiose. Yeah, so we cannot make more than what it is. So it should be clear, it should be objective, it should be logical, and of course it should be well sourced. And I think everybody can agree. I don't have to dwell much about these characteristics. Yes, sometimes it could be engaging. Complexity, it should be complex. So some people perhaps mention the simpler you can get is the better for any writing, not only academic writing. Yeah, the simpler you get, because you like to convince other people. So any piece of writing, the objective why you write something in the end is about to convey your idea to other people. So it should be simpler so other people can get what you mean. Yeah. So but of course sometimes we can argue, yes, we also need complexity to show how we actually develop our argument, but not always. Yeah, try to make it simple as possible. But so if you would like to make a definition, what is academic writing? Basically, in simple word, academic writing is a writing process that is part of academic work, of course. So any writing done as part of academic work can be seen, can be considered as academic writing, of course. So as I mentioned before, it follows particular format and style. Well, when we see it for the first time, we know immediately, yes, this is actually academic writing. Yeah, it can be varied according to different academic discipline or academic institutions, but there are standard style or format in any academic writing, no matter what is your disciplines or institution. But some institution, perhaps they have different style. Yeah, some, for instance, in referencing, for instance, some use APA style, the other use Oxford style, Chicago style, and many other styles, right? But there is a particular format that you should follow to write academic piece of writing. And the purpose, of course, it can be different. Yeah, but mainly, why it is very, very important that every academic should be able to produce a writing, because it is the way to present your idea. Yeah, it is not enough only to present your idea to verbal like this, yeah, giving a lecture. But when you put it on a piece of paper, then you can see how concise actually your logical argument. Yeah, so that's why in every academic institution, so everyone who are in academic institution or follow training in academic institution as a students, yeah, should be able in the end to write academic writing, or to write academic paper, or to write academic article, or to produce any academic piece of writing. Yeah, because it's a way to present your idea, and it's also very important to construct effective argument. You can look back at your argument. Yeah, what I'm saying right now, so a minute ago what I say, of course I still remember what I said, but when you put it on writing, you can evaluate it back, re-evaluate what you said. So that's why it's very, very important. You can see how consistent, how logical your argument when you put it in a piece of writing. So even though in the end, if most of you are students, in the end you do not want to work as in academia, you don't want to be a lecturer later on. If you are going to be a professional, yeah, still you need to be able to produce at least once in your lifetime. You have to produce academic writing. So you have a proper way how to present your ideas and construct your argument. Yeah. And there's different types of academic writing. Yeah. So first, perhaps the easiest one is what we call as academic essay, usually quite short. Yeah. So between usually 1,500 or 2,000 words usually. And it aims to convince the reader an idea using research and analysis. Yeah, it's quite short. But the longest, a bit longer than academic essay, we call it research paper, which usually published in scientific journal or as a part of chapter in scientific book usually. Or even the whole book can be seen as a research paper. Yeah, so it's a more in-depth investigation based on your research, and it's clearly explained research process, methods, and data so that you arrive in a certain conclusion. A technical report can also be considered as academic writing. So since most of you actually, I think, doing your education in accountancy, right? But still, you can produce any technical report. For instance, you develop new methods, yeah, and then you like to explain these new methods, right? So it doesn't have any hypothesis, but you just mention how you develop the methods, and of course, everybody can discuss it, can disagree with that, and then you can stimulate a discussion, improve the methods that you already developed. Then this can then it becomes a technical report. So I have a background in engineering, so there's a lot of things that we also write as a technical report. So it's a bit different with research paper and academic essay. Yeah. So as you develop something, you can develop device, for instance, technique. Yeah. So the way how the process how you develop that device, method, or technique, then you can also publish it in scientific journal or as a scientific book. Yeah, or part of scientific book. Thesis, of course, is part of academic writing. So in bachelor, master, or doctoral degree, you have a certain point, you have to write a thesis. You call it, what is it? I lost the word, actually. So skripsi, yeah? Sometimes you call it skripsi. Tugas akhir in Indonesia, yeah? So, or thesis, sometimes we mention, and in doctoral degree, usually you call it as dissertation. So this is also, of course, part of academic writing. Literary analysis. Sometimes you just try to make a synthesis of many. For instance, you try to review a scientific book, or you review a certain paper. Yeah. So sometimes you see it. So this is also can be considered as academic writing, as literal analysis, or annotated bibliographies. Yeah. So you compile many studies from certain years, for a certain period of times, right? Maybe in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And then you comprehensively not only make a list, but you also try to discuss it and evaluate how certain topics actually evolve from certain period of time. Then it can also be considered as part of academic writing. Now, as I mentioned before, all academic writing usually follow a certain format. Yeah, or a formal a certain style. So usually we call it imrat. Yeah, maybe you know it already. So I suppose all the senior academics like Bu Sri Mulyani, so are very, very familiar with this. So we call it imrat. So this is a standard format or of academic writing. So when we see a certain piece of paper follow this format, we know, okay, this is actually academic. So it starts always with introduction, and then mention about the methods, what is used, and the results of the analysis. And also there's a discussions of the results. Then we can see, yes, this is actually academic writing. Even though in a paper, in academic paper, for instance, we add many things to it. For instance, in the beginning, we can add abstract, something like that, right? As a summary of the academic writing. But also, very, very important, in many theses or in many academic writing, we add literature review, theoretical framework, or conceptual framework, yeah, which is the basis for the analysis in the study. So we can introduce this after we because in introduction you show what is the problem, what is the objective of your writing usually, right? And then how actually you try to reach that objective. Then you there's a certain way how to reach that objective. That's the methods, yeah. How the problem actually studied, that's the methods. But the methods usually develop with a certain theoretical framework or conceptual framework. The basis for analysis on the study. So we made a conceptual framework, or it's based on certain theories. Then we call it a theoretical framework. So we do this usually based on literature review, critical literature review. But I will discuss about that critical literature review later on as a second part of this lecture. Yeah. So then the method should be the results of your literature review and theoretical framework and conceptual framework, because you know how to analyze the problem, and then you choose certain methods, can be established methods, or you develop your own methods based on that conceptual framework or based on that theoretical framework. And then you report the results. What are the findings, right? And then you discuss the results, and in the end, you conclude by answering the research questions, or by telling the reader that you have achieved the objective that you already mentioned in the introduction. And in the end, you show the bibliography or the list of the reference, what kind of reference you use, which already mentioned or cited in the body the body of the text of your piece of writing. Yeah. So this is about academic writing. So I suppose it is clear for everybody. But if you have any question, please. Yeah. So because it's a lecture, right? So during the lecture, so usually I like to be interrupted by students, so by everybody. So even though it's called seminar by Bu Sri Mulyani in the beginning, but it is international summer course. So it's a course, so it's a lecture. So I like to be interrupted if you do not find anything clear from my talk. So please, is it clear so far about academic writing? Any questions so far? No? Or everybody just, yeah, thank you, Nuraida. Yeah, I can see that you're agreeing with me. So, but I hope everybody also understand. So if I speak too fast or too quick, please interrupt me. Yeah, and please remind me about that. Yes. The second thing is about critical thinking in academic research and writing. So again, I invite you to go to this Mentimeter. So what do you mean? What does it mean by critical thinking? I think you are familiar already with academic writing, but what is critical thinking actually? So please now go to this. And again, I will share the URL in the chat. But you can still see my slide, I suppose. Yeah, I will put it in chat. This is that. Yes, this is the second URL. So please, and let me check. You can find in the chat. Oh, Abraham Mika asks, how to use Imrat at user lifestyle? Can it use? Yes, of course. Yeah. Because, but yeah. So the structure is quite logical, I think, right? So you start with introduction, mentioning what actually you would like to achieve, why you, even though in academic talk like this, or in any talk, or in any way how you like to convey your ideas, I think you can use the Imrat. But the difference with academic writing. Usually you have, as I already discussed before, you really have to show the source as the basis of your argument. Yeah. So how you develop your argument. So, but the IMRAT structure, I think, is quite logical and can be used not only in academic writing. I hope I answer your question, Pak Abraham. So let us see. So can you see the answer in here based on the Mentimeter? What does it mean by critical thinking? It means high. It's okay. So maybe that person just try it out. Critical thinking is a process of analyzing available facts, evidence, observation. Wow. So this is really based on the you look at a certain literature, that's fine. Logical, careful way of thinking. We think about everything carefully before making decisions or understanding something. Yeah. With rational and can look from every side. Oh, okay, nice. There's no wrong, again, no wrong answer. Yeah. So just put what you think. I ask your opinion. Critical thinking. What does it mean by critical thinking? Please. If it is really hard for you to write down in English, it's okay that you can write it down in Bahasa or in Malay, is fine. But even in your own language later on, but please explain later on what do you mean by that. I do not know, according to Bu Sri Mulyani and Pak Sambas before, there are also some participants from Pakistan and Bangladesh. So I don't know, maybe you speak Urdu. So I don't speak Urdu, so I'm sorry. But you can write it down in your own language, and later on, you can explain it to us. But I suppose in Malay and in Bahasa Indonesia, I still can understand, and most of us still can understand that. Please. Only 6 responses among how many again, Bu Sri? 100 something? 106. I said 106, now become 105 participants. He or she a bit afraid and ask a question when I ask the question. I hope not. Yeah, the ability to think of someone in finding a better solution where the solution must be based on common sense. Nice. Critical thinking is a process of thinking logically to assess something. This a method of thinking that questions things systematically and analyze the reasoning and pattern behind something. Yeah, okay. Anything else? Again, if you would like to answer, but I suppose the question is clear, right? The question is very clear, I suppose. And again, if it's hard for you to convey your idea in English, you can write it down in your own language. You can write it down in Bahasa or in Malay, in Bahasa Indonesia, on Bahasa Malaysia, in Malaysian language. Please, 10 responses. Oh, yes. Objective analysis. The ability to think of someone. Oh, I already read it before. Reasoning and pattern behind something. So, please. So I wait for another 2, perhaps. We have 104 participants. I think minus Bu Sri, Pak Sambas, me, and other lecturer. Yeah, I don't know. At least more than 80 students or 80 participants. The rest are committees, perhaps. I don't know. It is quite low response, eh? If I do a statistic in here, so it's only, oh yeah, okay, 10%. I can live with that, perhaps. 10% response. Ability to think quickly, logically, and also critically, in responding or analyzing something. So, can we discuss it a little bit together? So, who mentioned this one? Think with rational and can look from every side. Please don't be shy. I hope I can give something to whoever dare enough, brave enough to give their opinion when I ask. We don't have a present or gift, yeah, Bu Sri Mulyani, to the students who can participate actively in this lecture. So who said this? Think with rational and it can look from every side.
Sir, is it me? I
All right.
it.
Okay. Can you state your name again?
My name is Medina.
Sofia.
Indonesia.
Yes. From?
Indonesia. Dari
Yeah, you are students in USU.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is your answer. Think with rational and can look from every side. Very interesting. But first of all, what is rational? And what do you mean by rational and look from every side?
Maybe because I think critical thinking is something process of how can I say it? Can I with bahasa?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So later on, I will ask Bu Sri to translate it to everybody. Please.
Jadi menurut saya untuk dokter untuk critical thinking itu biasanya sering diartikan sebagai cara berpikir yang cara berpikirnya itu harus terarah, yang berarti itu rasional dan bukan yang tidak terlalu objektif, tapi bukan berarti tidak boleh objektif. Untuk yang look from every side itu, yang dimaksud itu bisa menerima dari pemikiran dari setiap sisi, jadi nggak terpaku pada satu hal yang konsisten aja, tapi kan soalnya kan ada sesuatu yang misalnya perubahan begitu maksud saya. Jadi itu bisa dimasukkan ke dalam suatu pemikiran gitu.
Okay, so you mentioned in here 3 things. Yeah, terarah means it has a certain direction, right? I think that's what you mean by terarah. Rational and objective. But what is rational? What does it mean by rational? Objective, we already discussed about that. It has a certain objective, perhaps, or maybe you can explain what does it mean by rational and objective.
Kalau menurut dari pemahaman saya, rasional itu berpikirnya itu secara yang benar dan secara yang dewasa. Maksudnya kan seperti ada yang orang-orang yang masih belum bisa berpikir secara rasional. Secara rasional itu kan ini hal yang benar, ini hal yang salah begitu maksudnya.
So
malamnya kita sadar gitu kalau itu hal yang rasional.
All right, yeah. Anybody would like to add something to, again, what's your name?
Sophie Medina. Sophie
Medina. Would like to add something to what Sophie's already mentioned?
Boleh diulangin? Kurang terdengar soalnya.
Oh, so anyone would like to add something to what you already said? That's what I asked to everybody. Sophie mentioned critical thinking should be a way of thinking, a process of thinking, with in which it should be directive, terarah, yeah, so rational, and you also mentioned objective. So when I asked what is rational, so you said it should be the thinking in correctly, yeah, and you also mentioned it should be berpikir dengan dewasa. Yeah, I also don't, what does it mean by berpikir dewasa? But what is also interesting, you mentioned from every side, it means that the critical thinker, so to say, yeah, critical thinker should be able to absorb information from different sources, from different sites. Yeah. Am I interpreting your answer correctly, Sophie?
Yes, almost. Ya.
Okay.
About berpikir dewasa yang saya maksud itu pemikiran yang di umur orang yang sudah dewasa itu kan berbeda, maksudnya bukan benar begitu aja sih, bukan jelaskan hal-hal yang sulit dijelaskan aja.
Alright. Anyone else would like to share their opinion based on what you already answering here? The ability of someone in finding a better solution where the solution must be based on common sense. It's also interesting. Critical thinking is a process of thinking logically to assess something objectively. So my questions before also to Sophie. What does it mean by objective? So what is rational? What is objective? I think this is who else mentioned about objective in here? So this is one. This question: think systematically, analyze the reasoning pattern behind something. Critical thinking is a careful way of thinking. It means we think about everything carefully before making decision or understanding something. Okay, and in here just logical. Yeah. In here again through rational, skeptical, and unbiased analysis and evaluation. So another question: what is rational actually? Is it also the rational also mentioned in here again, not by Sophie but someone else? TS, so finding a solution. Perhaps for judgment read. What is rational? Is it the same rational thinking and critical thinking? Hello? Anyone would like to give their opinion? There's no wrong answer, eh? Is there any difference between critical thinking and rational thinking, or is it the same? Objective analysis, also mentioned objective in here. So two things, is rational and objective the same? Or critical, objective, and rational are the same? What does it mean by rational? What does it mean by objective? Hello? Anybody? Shall I mention names in here? Pak Malik, you want to share your opinion again?
Thank you, Doctor. I'm agree with Sophie what she mentioned. I think it's better.
Yeah. What is rational? What do you? What is objective? Is it the same thinking objectively and thinking rationally?
Objective, if I mention about the objective, there is some purpose behind that. How you are thinking, or on which purpose you are thinking, like academic writing, or after this, what's your idea which you will bring over there?
All right.
What you are going to input more in your critical thinking, add up more.
Is everybody clear from what Pak Malik already said? So who else can give an opinion? So in here, rational and objective mentioned several times. And my question is it the same, critical, rational, and objective? Bu Wanda Fauzan, perhaps? Yeah, Bu Wanda? No? You understand my question, Bu Wanda?
No, sir.
Yeah, can you share your opinion, please? Did you put your answer also in here in this for this question, Bu Wanda? No.
I'm not asking a question. So
All right. Yeah. Bu Nuraida, perhaps again, can you share your opinion, Bu Nuraida? Did you also share your opinion in here? Did you also submit an answer?
Just now you asked about the difference between critical, objective,
And rational.
and rational.
Iya, apa yang mau dirangkum?
subjek melengkapi resume gitu.
Ah, Bu Nur.
Dr. Ary, just now you asked about critical,
Yeah.
objective, and what is the difference between rational as
Is
well,
it,
right?
yeah. Is there any difference among those three? What does it mean by rational? What does it mean by objective?
Critical means that in way you present, how you evaluate your argument.
Yeah, but perhaps did you answer submit your answer as well in here, Bu Nuraida?
Yes.
So which one actually your answer in here?
My answer, there is evaluate, and there is words with the generate new idea or something.
This is this critical writing means the ability to evaluate something critically and able to generate new ideas. So this is it.
Yeah.
Is this your
That
answer?
is mine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Can you elaborate more in here? And then perhaps you can relate. You can answer what is rational. To evaluate something critically. So you do not mention any rational and objective in here, but evaluate something.
I did not mention rational and objective there, right, Dr.
Yes.
Ary?
Yeah.
But I think I did share that you can you have ability to evaluate something critically. I mean that you can generate some argument concisely. I mean and you are able to generate new idea based on that argument. I mean when you have different sources and you cannot just simply take it all in the same thing, right? But you must evaluate and come up with a new thing. That's how you can generate a critical idea, critical thinking.
Yeah.
This
So
is what
what's important? Yeah. What important for you actually in the end should be able critical thinkers. A critical thinker should be able to generate new ideas based on the sources she or he got. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not only repeat. Yeah. So not only repeating what he or she got, but generate new ideas from she or he got. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So I think we should continue because I only have 45 minutes. I hope I can finish it in that time. Shall we go back to my? Can you see my presentation again? Yeah. Everybody can see my presentation? Yes. All right. So let's continue. So in here, so actually there are already associations about critical thinking. This is very, very important about critical thinking. So I cited from website of the Foundation for Critical Thinking. There's even Foundation for Critical Thinking that has been used as a source of for publication or any discussion about critical thinking. So this foundation stems for before they have the annual international conference on critical thinking. So in 87 is already the 8th conference, and during that conference, Michael Scriven and Richard Paul, they present the definition, which in the end accepted by many institutions as critical thinking. So according to them, critical thinking is intellectually disciplined process. So it's a process, of course. Thinking is a process of thinking. Yeah, it's not only passively receive something, as Bu Nuraida mentioned, but it should be actively. Yeah? Active in conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating information. Yeah. So when you get certain information, when you read something, yeah, when you read something, for instance, you read academic writing, you read a journal, you read a scientific paper, for instance. So you have to, while reading it, you do not only observe, absorb information. You not only receive information, but you try also active. You try to be active in reading something by trying to conceptualize it. What does it mean? And not only what does it mean, what the writer would like to say is not only about that, but also later on I will show you is not only about what do they write, but then you also able to ask yourself, so what? Yeah. So that's why you need to conceptualize what they already the piece of information and try to apply it to something else. Yeah. And try to analyze what they said. It's not only just receive, not only agree what they said, but try to analyze, try to synthesize and evaluate what they said. Yeah. So this can only be done by active observation and then including your own experience from other sources, right? And try to reflect on them and try to make a good reason and then communicate it with others. Yeah. And in the end, as Bu Nuraida mentioned, is very, very important, you produce something new. So you not only replicate what already mentioned by others, yeah, but through active thinking, by conceptualizing again, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and also evaluate what the information you got, and then you try to say something, you try to produce something. This is critical thinking, according, and this is already being accepted by many institutions, by many not only academic institutions. So even they make foundation for critical thinking. So I think it's quite valid sources to define critical thinking that already been accepted, so to say, by many scholars. Yeah. So why is it important actually to have critical thinking? Because thinking itself is quite natural, right? So this guy, maybe you already know him, René Descartes, right? So he in 16th late of 16th centuries. So he wrote a book about philosophy, and what we use at the moment as a scientific method actually based on his writing before. And he said, "Cogito ergo sum." I'm thinking, therefore I exist. Therefore I am. So thinking actually is quite natural. Everybody do the thinking almost every second. But that's why you exist. That's why we live. Yeah, we live as long as we can think. We live. So we cannot think anymore when we do not live anymore in this earth. But it is often the way we think actually most often actually we do it in biased way, can be distorted, partial, uninformed, and also in the end we can be prejudiced, right? So because it is impossible for anyone to get a complete information, we always have partial information, and based on that partial information, we would like to convey that information to others. Then we would like to establish our own idea and how to make sure that our idea actually valid based on something. That's why we did critical thinking. Human being is usually almost biased. And especially in academic, this is very, very important, as we already discussed before, not to be biased or to reduce the bias in the way we write or in the way we convey our idea, right? So critical thinking means we should be able to look at the facts, ideas, and opinions without being biased, or at least to reduce the degree of that bias as low as possible. So I don't think any human being can be completely unbiased. No, I do not believe in that. So that's why I also do not believe in complete objectivity. So nobody can be purely objective. No. In the end, we make on our own opinion. Yeah. Every scientific work in the end actually, in one way or another, reflect our own stand. Yeah. So there's no pure objectivity. So we will be biased with our own value, our standard. So everybody has their own value, but we try to make it as low, as least as possible, so everybody can at least understand what actually we try to say. It doesn't mean everybody has to agree with us, but at least they know how actually we make our argument, right? So how to be able to reduce our bias? So we need to ask relevant questions. That's what active reading means. While you read something, you should not just read it for the sake of getting information, especially to produce academic writing. No, you have to actively read it by asking questions while you read it. Yeah, finding logical flows, not only just agree with what the author said, even though it's a high professor from, I don't know, very respectable in a university in the world, Oxford or Cambridge or MIT, I don't know. So it doesn't mean what they said is the whole truth. No, because again, nobody has the full information. Even the very respectable, very clever people, clever person, they always have flaws in the way of thinking. Yeah. So because nobody has a perfect information, nobody. So you try to find out, is there any flaws? Is there any bias? And then based on that, you try to make your own facts and a clear, and then you produce your way of thinking in a clearer way. So in this way, I think so Sophie already mentioned before a little bit, yeah, through critical thinking, a researcher, yeah, a critical thinker would look at the problems, look at the situation and issues with open mind. So try to be to open to different opinions, to different facts, yeah, and try to understand things from different points of view. That's what Sophie mentioned before. And that's very, very important as well in critical thinking. So before you develop your argument, before you arrive at certain conclusion, so you have to be able to collect as many facts as you can from different perspectives and then evaluate them. In the end, perhaps you can choose one that you think, okay, this is more right than the other, right? Or you can combine different facts to create your own argument, your own conclusion. That's actually critical thinking. So as Bu Nuraida mentioned correctly, yeah. So in the end, we need to produce our own argument, not just copy other people's argument. Yeah. So even though you agree with other people's argument, you have to mention why you agree with them. Not only just copy what they said. Yeah. This actually critical thinking, and it's very, very important in academic writing. So yeah, I collaborate with many people in writing academic papers, right? And I also reviewed many papers. Actually, every week I try to review one paper, yeah, asked by certain scientific journals. So usually we reject papers, yeah, because they do not try to introduce something new. So they just copied. This is the theory. This is what other people said, and this is the situations in this case, and that's it. Yeah. So they do not try to synthesize. What does it mean then? So as I mentioned, critical thinking is very, very important in academic research. Yeah, it plays vital role in academic research events because it ensures effectiveness in conveying research findings. Yeah, so you have to be able to again to introduce something new. Yeah, so usually, as I mentioned, how you do that when you engage in literature reviews. So you should not only do literature reviews, but you should be able to review it critically by keep asking questions. So usually we then differentiate between critical thinking or critical critical thinking and writing, then we call it as critical writing with descriptive writing. So in descriptive writing, you should just show what you know. Yeah. After reading something, then you inform the readers, this is what I read, something like that. Provide information from previous literature or obtain data. So you obtain your data maybe from survey, from interview, and then you just inform it to the reader in your writing. So that's what we call as just descriptive writing. It's not critical writing. In critical writing, you show your own reasoning and ideas. Instead of just showing what you found, either from literature or from your primary data, from interview or from survey, you also can explain, so what? So what does it mean? If someone say A, so what then? Yeah, then you should be able to show that to the reader. And if you just remembering, understanding, and applying, this we call illustrative process. This is descriptive writing. Yeah, in critical writing, you actively questioning what you read, as I mentioned. You analyze, evaluate, and creating something based on what you read or what you found. Yeah, and in descriptive writing, you just provide a summary of previous research. But in critical writing, you should be able to show what does it imply. Yeah, or what actually the reason behind it. You try to find, or you can find other sources to make sense of what actually other people said in their writing, in their paper or in their journal. Yeah, and as much as possible, you try to show the limitation. There's always limitation in every papers, in every academic literature. Yeah, so there is no completely perfect literature, and that should not be. Yeah, no academic researcher actually tried to make a perfect product. No, if they try to make a perfect product, it's already failed to become academic, in my opinion. Yeah, so because part of being a real academic knows your limitation. Yeah, and you know that you're not perfect. So in the end, as academics, we know that we are not perfect because we cannot be perfect. Nobody can gather all information. We are human and we have many limitations. So that's why it is important to show that you have that limitation. And as active reader, we should be able to find that limitation as well. Yeah. So descriptive writing, we give background to your arguments. Why you said something, this is the background. But in critical writing, you should be able to build your argument based on certain evidence that you found. Again, based on previous literature, previous research, or the data you gather yourself from interview, survey, or whatever. Yeah. So this, I suppose, by showing this descriptive writing and critical writing, you will be able later on to be critical thinkers yourself when you try to produce academic writing. Yeah. So this is, I give some key features of critical writing. So like I mentioned before, we should be able to present a strong supportive evidence and clear argument. And you should be able to support your argument, not only support your argument, but you should be able also to provide counter argument. Yeah. And in the end, you make your choice. You make a decision. From this different opinion, yeah, different standing, what actually you choose. Yeah. To be able in the end to reach your own objective in your research, in your study, in your writing. Yeah. So by doing this, it means you show critical, you critical towards other people's works, not only just accept what they said. Yeah. And in the end, also recognize your own limitation. As I mentioned before, it is also very, very important to recognize your limitation, your argument, and also your conclusion. Yeah, in academic writing, that's what it means to be critical. Now, I give you simple exercise. I give here two statements. Can you indicate which statement actually can be seen or can be considered as a critical writing and the other one as a descriptive writing? Which one? Who said the first one actually descriptive writing? Anyone? Raise your hand, please. Who said the first one actually descriptive writing? Oh, nobody. So who said the first one actually critical writing? Or both are critical writing? Or both actually descriptive? Huh. Okay. This is what happens when we do online lecture. Eh? So I can so please write in the chat 1 or 2. Yeah. So write down which one actually descriptive. 1 or 2. Descriptive. Yeah. Which one actually descriptive? 1 or 2. Or you can say none if you think both actually critical. Or 1 and 2 if you think both actually descriptive. So which one is descriptive writing? Write it down in chat. 1 or 2. Nobody? Please. Nobody there enough to give their answer? Ah. Nobody there enough? Come on. Already too tired to follow the lecture. Bu Nuraida, so I'm sorry, I asked you again. I'm looking for counterpart in here because otherwise I feel like I'm talking to the wall. Bu Nuraida, please. What is your answer?
I think for the statement 2 is critical thinking.
Why?
Why they go for specifically using a theory of culture competency? I mean, then they explain urban planners should be aware their own internal that place should be approached on.
And why the first one is not critical? Why the first one? So the first one should be descriptive, according to you, right?
But for the first one, I'm not really confirmed.
Why?
I think it's descriptive.
Descriptive. By practicing cultural awareness can foster trust with the community, which may hinder accurate acceptance of it. While the statement 2, using the theory of cultural competency, urban planner should be aware of their own internal bias and should approach the curriculum in an open-minded, non-judgmental manner. Okay.
Because for the statement 1, it's
Any
just
other?
mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for the statement 1, it's just mentioned like by practice, culture awareness, urban planner can foster trust with the community, diverse background, income, community. It's just only a statement. Only you say.
So I think in here the keyword is should be. Is that? Because of the should be, then you think statement 2 actually critical. Yeah. So it means that the reader and the writer give their own opinion based on what they read.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Other one?
Dr. Ary, maybe you can ask Mr. Wasim.
Oh yeah. All right. Pak Wasim, Mr. Wasim. Where are you? Yes. Because only both of you are actually quite active in this lecture today.
Thank you, Doctor, giving me the chance. And Thanks also to Noraida, who mentioned me, even though I'm not active as well. According to me, from the both statement, I'm agree with her. Second statement is quite critical thinking, because in first statement, if we will comparison both statements, in first statement they are expressing their idea in written in large size as well, but in statement two, second statement, they are going for the critical, what is there, how to be there, and why, what will be the judgment of there, like in proper way, like we are what, how can we continue with the critical thinking, where we can go for the ideas, how can we put in first statement, they explain in well manners, but in second statement he put in a logical way, you can say use the word logical. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
thing on my side.
Okay, thank you. Since both of you agree, then I should agree with both of you then. Yeah. So the idea of critical thinking, again, you not only try to say what other people said, yeah, not only just explain what the theory is all about, but what does it mean for your own? Because theory of cultural competency, yeah, just to give you a background, is not, I'm an urban planner, so that's why I use this as a statement, right? So theory of cultural competency comes from urban planning, yeah, but they use this theory of cultural competency to analyze what should happen in urban planning. So that's why in here, in that way, we can see this as a critical thinking. So thank you, Bu Nuraida and Pak Wasim, for your, I think we can say this is, you are right. Statement 2 are critical thinking, critical writing. Yeah. So in here, just first step to develop skill of critical thinking, I think already mentioned before. So when reading something or presenting some facts, you actively asking yourself, what does this evidence mean? What does it mean? Yeah, it's not only just mention what other people mention, but what does it mean? What is its significance? How this point relate back to my central argument, and so on and so forth. I suppose you can use these questions, yeah, when you read something to produce critical writing or to produce critical literature review, yeah. So which is very important in academic writing. And some other tips for critical writing: you try to evaluate the evidence. Do not only state it. You try to be able to evaluate it. So synthesize. This is also important. The third one: synthesize secondary material. If you find something from a paper from an author, try to find a counter argument, or try to find other people who said about the same issues. Yeah. So do not only rely on one sources. Try to find different sources to reveal a certain fact. Even though you already got your own fact by yourself, you collect primary data. Try then to provide counter argument by look at other people works. Yeah. So because believe me, you're not the only one who do, when you try to produce academic writing, you're not the only one who busy with that topic. Even though you can say, so nobody actually write this topic before, but believe me, so there's billions of people in the world. So should be other people who, even though it's not directly the same with what you said, but it can be related with your topic. Yeah. So that's about critical writing. So far, is it clear, or is there any questions about critical writing? And how is it actually important for for academia to have critical writing to produce academic papers or academic writing itself? Any questions so far? No? Yeah, okay then. So then I will continue to the last piece of the topic, academic integrity. Now again, Go to Mentimeter, mention one word that can define academic integrity. Please go here, and I invite you again to a Mentimeter. This is, I promise you, this is the last one. And I put in here the URL also in the chat now. Here. Then I will look at let's see. Oh, nice. Citation, transparency, originality. Oh, do you see the results? Can you see the results or not? Oh, let me. Citation, transparency. No, nobody? No else? Nobody else? Only 3 people? Oh, we reduced already to 87 participants from 105. No other responses. Can you hear me clearly or? Sophie, have you submit your answer? Based on this first. Yes, 6 people now. Integrity, transparency, accountability, no plagiarism. Okay. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Originality. And people from the who also attend this offline on campus, can you, should I then show you again the QR code? Oh, but 22 response, that's fine. Yeah, originality and honesty and respect, trust. Nice. Please. I expect everybody should be able, because yeah, there's no right or wrong answer. I asked you, actually, I should mention what is your opinion. So then there's no right or wrong answer because it's your opinion. Plagiarism free. So it's also no plagiarism. Same. Yes. Responsible. Veracity. Oh. Citation. All right. What time is it now? Okay. I think I just continue because I look at the time. I only have 15 more minutes actually to finish this lecture. Yeah, you can submit your answer, but I will go back to Can you see my slides again? Yeah. All right. So integrity. I look at the dictionary. What does integrity means? The first things, I use Oxford Dictionary of English. So the first things, actually there's a several meaning of integrity, but the first is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. So in here, moral principles can also be considered as values. So when our actions meets our values, yeah, that's what we call as integrity. As simple as that. And in academic, integrity is very, very important. That's why in 1993 or 1992, if I'm mistaken, there is International Center for Academic Integrity established first by this guy, Professor McCabe. He's from Rutgers University in New Jersey, in Newark, New Jersey, US. Yeah. So he conducted many research about how much actually, or to what extent students or academics would like to cheat, would be cheating in their work. Yeah. And in the end, they create this this institution, International Center for Academic Integrity, which becomes the source of academic integrity around the world. So many academic institutions in the world adopt something from this international to create their own academic integrity code of conduct, so to say. So according to them, first according to this the Center, International Center for Academic Integrity, so they said there's 6 values, yeah, that should be associated with academic integrity. First and for all is honesty. So to become academic, you should be honest, yeah, and then trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and courage. We will look at these 6 values briefly, yeah. So honesty, what does it mean by honesty? It is quality of being free from fraud or deception. So how to demonstrate this honesty according to this institution? So you should be truthful to your work, yeah, in gathering the data, in informing the data, yeah. So you should be truthful and give credit to those who own the credit, yeah. So when you cite something, mention who you cite it from. Is it the author, speaker, perhaps also designer, whatever, yeah. And keep your promise. What you would like to, especially a researcher, usually you start with making a research proposal and keep your promise, yeah. So this also being honest to your work. Provide factual evidence as it is and aspire to objectivity. Consider all sides and one's own potential preconceptions. This very, very important. Honesty is very, very important as academics when you try to produce something. Trust. So trust should be reciprocal. Yeah, you should be able to be someone who trustworthy, but you should also be able to trust someone else in your community. Yeah, it's the ability to rely on the truth of someone or something. But at the same time, you should also be the one that be relied on by anybody else. So that's why it's very important to clearly state expectation, and you should be follow it through. Yeah, and you should be transparent in your values process. So as mentioned before, so it is fine to be not completely objective in so you try to be as objective as possible, but nobody can be truly objective. That's why you need to be able to explain your position, because in the end, you make your own position when you make a conclusion in your academic writing. Yeah, so be transparent on your opinion, on your argument, but you have to trust also others. Then encourage mutual understanding. Yeah, so this is very important as well. Trust. Fairness, in here, you need to be able to be impartial. Yeah, and apart from you have to apply rules and policy consistently. you also have to engage with other ideas and other peoples in equal way. Keep your open mind. Sophie mentioned that before, and you should, even though you do not agree with something or someone, it doesn't mean that you should neglect them. No, yeah. So that's what fairness means. You should be able to engage to the people or to the ideas that you are not agree with. Yeah. And of course, at the same time, you should be able to take responsibility for your own actions. So it's okay to change your opinion. It's okay to change your stand. Yeah. If you, but then you should be able to inform it to the reader. That fairness, and then respect, of course. So again, I should mention in the beginning, these 6 values is not mutually separated. Yeah. So it can be combined. It has intersections in some way or another. Yeah. So respect means it also related to before, that you trust other people's opinion. Then you should also be able. You should not be agree with everybody. No, you can disagree with many people, but you should be able to receive feedback, and you should also be able to accept other people's thoughts, even though you don't agree with them. Show empathy. Try to think about how does it mean by how if you actually standing in other people's shoes. Yeah, and you affirm others and accept the differences. That's important. That's respect. And then responsibility. You have to be responsible to your own data, to your own work. Yeah. So know and follow institution rules, and be able to create, understand, and respect personal boundaries. So you should be also responsible with your own action, and you follow through with tasks and expectation. Yeah. So responsibility means that you are able to hold yourself accountable with your own actions and work. And last but not least, you should also be courageous. Yeah. It means when you find something wrong, yeah, done by other people in your surrounding, you should be able also to inform it. Yeah. So even though if you have difficulties to reveal the truths, try to reveal it anyway. Yeah. So be brave even when others might not. So do not be afraid being different with other people. Yeah. So that's what courage means. And this what does it mean by academic integrity? So even though these 6 values has been adopted, has been accepted globally, but different academic institutions or academic circles might have specific codes of conduct to uphold the values for academic integrity. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm academics in the Netherlands. So in the Netherlands, we have this consensus in 2 documents. First, we call scientific integrity. It's ratified last time in 2001, but it can be updated if necessary. And the other one is a code of conduct for scientific practice made by the Association of Universities in the Netherlands in 2004. I don't know in Indonesia or Malaysia or any other countries. So, but I suppose every country or every, even maybe association or of certain disciplines, they have their certain code of conduct. It is clearly mentioned what kind of action can be considered as a violation of scholarly or academic integrity or scientific integrity. First, when we see the fabrication, when you enter fictitious data, or you falsify the data, yeah, you do not only enter fictitious data, but you falsify the data. Plagiarism, of course, that really violate academic integrity. And in here also, very important, deliberately ignoring and not acknowledging the contribution of other authors. So everybody who has contributions to your own work, you should be able to give them acknowledgement. Yeah. If not as a co-author, maybe just put in acknowledgement that they are in some way or another help you to produce your academic writing. Yeah. Very important. What else? But not acknowledging other people as co-author, it's wrong. But falsely posting as co-author is also wrong. Yeah. So whoever actually included as a co-author, or you mention in acknowledgement of your paper, should have contribution to your work. Yeah. If there's someone who doesn't have any contribution, but because you think, he has a great name, because he's actually the head of the department, then he should be or she should be the co-author, but he or she doesn't have any contribution in one way or another, then it's also already violate academic integrity. Yeah. Intention making an incorrect use of statistic methods. This is also happens quite often. I see it also to students, and in the Netherlands there are several occasions, not many, that when we found this, then that person being expelled from being from the academic institution where he or she works. Committing attributable inaccuracy when carrying out research is also violating academic integrity. And this, last but not least, allowing, when you know someone actually already violating academic integrity, consensus of academic integrity, but you know it, but you don't report it, you can also be accused as to violate this academic integrity. So in the end, academic integrity is not only avoiding cheating on plagiarism. No, it's not only about that, but it is about maintaining excellent academic standards, and it should be supported, yeah, by institutions, but also by every individuals who engage, who involve in academic institution or in academic activities. So I think I will end my lectures with this today. Thank you. Dank u wel in Nederlands, of terima kasih. So if you have any last questions, so please, and then I give back the floor to Bu Sri Mulyani. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ary. For this session, maybe we have to discuss about about the critical thinking, how to make a academic writing. Yeah, maybe I give opportunity to the audience. If you want to ask, please raise your hand from the platform, or you can write in the chat. Any question,
Really
please?
see if speak to yeah. Is it clear or?
Assalamualaikum again.
Salam.
I was stuck on point number 7, previous slide. Can you explain that again, because I unable to understand that point. Point number 7.
Okay. About academic integrity, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
You.
So let me go back to my slides then. Where is it now? This one? Oh, can you see already? No?
Yes, sir.
No, you cannot see my. You cannot see my. It's committing attributable inaccuracy when carrying out research. Is that it? I think that one, right?
Yes.
What? Yes, this is it. This number 7. Committing attributable inaccuracy when carrying out research. So, for instance, if you actually apply wrong methods, yeah, or in gathering the data or analyzing the data. Yeah, and you've been warned about that, because in every institute, I took this from my own university. Yeah, so we have a document called and we also have a committee for academic integrity. Sometimes they look at our works, yeah, and sometimes our works has been discussed, and it is clear in the way, for instance, we collect the data. There is it's not intentionally. It's not intentionally, but you apply wrong methods, for instance. But you've been warned, but you still apply it anyway. Yeah. So then that's what does it mean? So committing attributable inaccuracy when carrying out research. So when you apply something the way when you carry out research, not in the correct way, has been warned about that, but still doing it anyway, yeah, then it is also already violate academic integrity. So that's why in academic publication, it should go through the peer review process, right? So that other people can see what actually whether we do it correctly or not correctly, right? So, and when other people only reject our work because it is incorrect, unless you have good argument to encounter that accusations of, for instance, yeah, then it's okay. But if it's already clear that what you do actually not correct in the way you collect the data, you analyze the data, or present the data, yeah, then we call it attributable inaccuracy when carrying out research. I hope this answer your question.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question?
This is a question, sir, from Sophie.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It's critical
Oh, in
thinking.
the chat.
Yeah, on the chat. Is critical thinking and brainstorming same? Because
two of them have similar meaning and also mention about thinking. Yeah. I suppose brainstorming is one way how you can, in the end, arrive at critical thinking. It's not, I think it's not really the same, right? Brainstorming usually just collecting different opinion, right? Different facts from different people. Yeah. But but in the end, you should be able to evaluate, you analyze that different opinion. So brainstorming itself, in my opinion, is a way to collect the data. Yeah. Then you need critical thinking to process the data. Of course, critical thinking should start from how you collect the data. Yeah. So the whole process, collecting the data, processing the data, and also presenting the data, those all need critical thinking. But brainstorming itself, in my opinion, works for the first steps in this process. When you collect the data, you can do it by brainstorming it, asking different people with their different opinion. It's only one way, yeah, to collect the data. Sometimes you cannot do brainstorming to collect different opinions. Sometimes it's just looking at different sources. You do it. You do it through desk study, for instance, because in brainstorming you need focus group discussion, something like that, right? Delphi methods, for instance, brainstorming can also be done through Delphi methods. But sometimes you do not do that because it's hard to collect people's people opinions directly. So then you look at the previous research through their studies, yeah, to collect different perspective on certain issues. But then you start critically evaluate them and then produce make your own conclusion based on different opinion or different perspectives. So is it clear, Sophie?
Clear.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Any other question?
If there is no question, maybe while we are waiting any question from the audience, may I ask you, Doctor?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully not the hard questions, Bu Sri.
It's not hard. I know that I realize that critical thinking is very important in order to a good writing. But most of us has difficulties. Do you any idea how to build the create or to create critical thinking?
Usually I start with this, Bu Sri, by actively asking myself when I read something. Yeah. And for the first steps, usually I apply to my students. You can start critical thinking, but when you read something, that's perhaps the easiest way how to develop the skills of critical thinking. Yeah, when you read something, yeah, it's not only because usually in any thesis we always have a chapter about literature review, right? So we always have literature review. So usually literature review is only mentioning what other people already done with that issues, just informing. Yeah, we collect certain several literature and then inform what they said. Yeah, so usually what I ask, I ask students to make the list of literature they use. Yeah, and then make it put it in the table. Yeah, and then for each literature, try to pose questions, try to criticize, find the limitation. What actually, what's the limitation of that paper? So again, even though the paper actually produced by very well-known scholars, yeah, from very well-known university, yeah, in the world, yeah, but I ask the students, so what is still missing from that paper, from their studies? So that's the first steps, and then based on that, we when we read something, when we read a piece of paper, actively ask, what does it mean? What is significant? What is the limitation? So try to find limitation of that literature, and only after that you relate this with your own issues and try to make your own conclusion. So I don't know how to make it simpler, but I think the first way, when you read something, do not immediately agree. Try to disagree first, even. Try to disagree with what you read. So that's yeah, I don't know whether it's effective or not. At least that's what I do when I try to be more critical. Yeah. So maybe this tip can be useful for you or not. Yeah. So
Okay, thank you.
I don't know whether I can share you in. Yeah. So I ask the students to make the table usually when they make the literature review. So, and before they write down their research questions, so I ask them what's actually missing from the literature. Why you ask that questions? Why is that actually becomes the research question for your thesis, for instance? So start from that. So before we make a research, before we start the research, we always start to do literature review to find out how this issue has been discussed in the scientific community usually. So do pre-research before the real research. That's that's all, as I said.
Sorry for the interruption, Dr. Ary and
Yeah.
Ibu Suryani. So it means that we have, before we continue to the literature, the LR, and write our research. It means that you suggest for us to do mapping from previous studies. Is it right?
Yeah, kind of like that. So I don't, because I'm from urban planning, so I always say to my students, urban planning in the end is applied science. It's not pure science. Yeah. So you usually look at the problem from empirical problem. You find
Yes.
out from the what is actually from the field, something like that, right? What's the issues in the CD, something like that. And
Right.
usually there's a practical problem. Yeah, why there is traffic jam, for instance, right? But I don't, in accountancy, perhaps you can also find many problems in practice, right? So
we have a lot of problems.
A lot,
actually.
of course, right? Yes, yeah. So why this cannot be reported in a good way, something like that. But
Right.
then, after you have that practical questions, I ask my students usually to look at literature, how this problem, how this issue, even though not directly related, but has some kind of relation to that issue, how it's been discussed. Has this tried to be solved in different way? Yeah, even though it's not really directly. Yeah, so do this literature review first before the real literature review. Yeah, usually in thesis literature review in second chapter,
Right.
but it is actually the zero chapter. Yeah, the zero chapter. So you read it, what has been discussed, what has been done, what's still missing from that. So usually then when I ask the students to do that, find at least five literature, yeah, related to your topic first. You have big questions in your mind, can be practical questions, and then find five literature, scientific literature, and then list these five literature, find out what actually the objective of that paper, what the methods they use, what the results, and the end, the most important things, what is the limitation of that paper.
Right.
I try ask my students, and what's still missing from that paper, and maybe you can relate that questions, the last questions, what is still missing, you can relate that with the issues that you're facing from the field, from the practice. Yeah, can this literature really answer your question or not? Why it cannot answer your questions? So that's critical thinking usually start from active questioning, in my opinion. Yeah. So again, do not only accept, do not only absorb information, but try to evaluate the information. Try to criticize it. Find the limitation of that. Because again, there is no such things that perfect, especially in academia.
Agree.
Yeah. And we should not try to be perfect in academic work.
Yes.
Because we know we cannot. Yeah. Admitting and finding our limitation, I think, is part of academic integrity. That's honesty. And that's that's part of the honesty in academic integrity. Yeah, but we can discuss about that, of course.
Right. It's fantastic, Doctor, because as we all know, if we talk about before, actually, similar like Bu Sri Mulyani said before, actually we do a mind mapping first before we have research study. So
yeah. But again, even though we do mind mapping, it's never be complete, right? Other people do the mind mapping.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's why I think the first way, another way how to be critical, be able, and also related to academic integrity, we should be able to be challenged.
Right.
Be open to different opinion from the students even. Yeah. Do not think what we said to the student is the only truth, even though we get it from textbook. No. Challenge them to challenge us, actually. Yeah. Make the students do not afraid to challenge us, to show that we are wrong.
Right.
So when we think what we said is the only truth, and we completely correct with what we said, we're not open to any limitation, then I think we fail as educators. We fail as academics, in my opinion.
Right. So it means that beside critical thinking, the academician need creativity. Is it right, Doctor?
Yeah, I think from the critical thinking, then it should induce creativity, because creativity means in the end that we can produce something new, I suppose, right? That's what Bu Nuraida mentioned before, right? So only by critically evaluate what we have, we can produce something new. We find a new way.
Right.
Yeah, but do not think that creativity should be that we produce something completely new. That's something completely big. No, it can be start from. Do not attempt to create masterpiece in all our works. So, yeah.
This time we just only a followers, not
not trendsetter. Yeah. All right.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you for the discussion, Pak Sabas.
Yes, sometimes we have no confidence, sir. When we read our writing, we all already make an effort, big effort to write it. But if I read my own writing, so I feel not confidence. I always feel not confidence.
But perhaps that's good. So then we always try to do better.
One second,
We try
Doctor.
again.
Another question. When we will finish our literate LR during our time in the research, especially
very good questions. Very good questions. So, I also don't know. So sometimes I said to my students, just find five papers. But sometimes they come up with 10, 15, 20, because the more you read, sometimes when you really engage to the issues, to the problem, so you get excited, right? And you gather more and more and more, and then suddenly, hey, I have 100 literature I should read. How can I read them all? No. So you have to stop at certain point, of course. That's show our limitation. Yeah. Sometimes it's quite practical, because we said perhaps we need 2 days to do this. After 2 days, if I only get 5, it's only 5 then. Maybe there's many other we haven't read. That's part of the limitation, of course, right?
Right.
So maybe the answer is quite practical in the end. Is there's no, at least from my experience, it's quite practical. Yeah.
Yeah, because
be wrong.
Practically, some of my students, they have at least they have criticized some of them 50 papers.
So 50. I don't know, how can you read 50 papers in?
No, actually it takes time. It takes time.
Of course. Yeah.
So sometime 30.
Oh wow, that's quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite a lot, because in, I don't know, maybe in accounting they are quite similar. It's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky to find because actually some paper they have some kind of like continuity between paper first previous paper or previous studies to further studies. So it is quite tricky, because sometimes it shows a little bit similarity. So it's quite difficult for student. I think. They criticize.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, if you find similarity in all literature, in most literature you find from certain issue, it means the scientific community, or they agree on something, they have a consensus, right?
Right.
So that's also fine. So I don't know whether you can see my screen now. I would like to show something else in here. Oh no. So may I share you something in here?
Sure.
Yeah. This usually I ask my students to fill this table when they start with their research, with their thesis. Yeah. So just find not more than 10 articles related to the issues you would like to study. What first, mention the literature using the APA style or any style you use in your institution. Mention the problem statement of that paper, what methods they use, what's the conclusion, and this very important. What is still missing from the article? So they have to fill this table. I ask them usually when they start with their thesis, bachelor or master, and even my doctorate students, I ask them to do this as well. Even I do it by myself if I conduct my own research. So not too many, yeah. So maybe start with 10. So use Google Scholars. So what are the 10 most prominent and the newest papers related to the issues? Then put it in here. Then this last part gave me an idea already about research gap. Already tried to make me critically thinking about the issues. When I try to suggest a future gap or future research or research gap from that particular article. So that's why I do not ask my students to collect 50 or 30 even, just 10. If later on it becomes more and more, that's fine. Start with simple first. So if all the 10 articles mention the same things, they have the same conclusion, or maybe they have, even though they have different methods, they still arrive at the same conclusion. So it means that conclusion is already being consensus, right, among the scientific community. So we have the truth, something like that. Yeah. Or maybe all of them missing the method, they all use the same methods. Then you can ask yourself, maybe using different methods, you can arrive at different conclusion, maybe. Or if different methods also arrive at the conclusion, then you strengthen the conclusion, you strengthen the theory, right? Okay. So right. I don't see there's a problem when you find similar papers. Again, it means it strengthens the theory you like to prove or disprove, so to say. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. Ary?
Yeah.
And Dr. Ary? Hello?
Yes.
Just now you showed the LR matrix, right? The tables.
Yes.
And you show for the last table is suggesting for the future research, right?
Yes.
Some of the article
already mentioned
provide the future research.
Indeed.
Yeah, already mentioned.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes we just took it. Oh, what mean by you? We can took it from that article because some of them they already put the limitation and further suggestion what we have to do. Or do you think we should come up with our own words? What is the weakness? What is the missing in that article? Or we just copy paste from there? You got my point? Is that stuff?
Yeah, completely right. So that sometimes an article already mentioned their own limitation, but sometimes not. Right? They can take it by themselves, but they can take it. Yeah. But they can also try to find something else. Yeah. So it's okay for bachelor students. It's fine for me if they just take what other people said as the limitation. But for master and especially for my doctoral students, no, I do not accept it. I even ask, but even they take it, I ask them, why is it important to your own study? Yeah. So at least they can provide that argument. So it's okay to agree. It's not, I'm not mentioning that you should always be disagree with other people. No. Yeah. But even if you agree, you can provide argument why you agree with that. Is it, then you can reflect on your own situation in your own study. Why is it actually suitable for your own study? Then you take it as it is. Yeah. So I think it's a good things that you mentioned that, Bu Nuraida. Thank you for that.
One more thing. Okay. One more thing. Before we are talking about academic integrity, right?
Yes.
So I want to ask, what do you think the integrity, I mean the academic integrity in our, I mean, like I'm doing PhD right now. So so how can I say to you? What is your opinion? The integrity in academic nowadays. Do you think students the level of integrity nowadays is good? Because okay, let me give you like example. For those who are doing quantitative, especially in conducting the using a primary sources, where is a questionnaire. So tendency to manipulate data is very high. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
This is
Yeah.
the reality, right? This is the reality.
Yes, this is reality.
Especially
Yes.
when you conduct analysis and you get the result was not really good. And tendency for you to manipulate the data is high. So how you consider about this?
Yeah. So, of course, in terms of academic integrity, it's not acceptable, right, to manipulate the data. But I think it's already quite a common practice in quantitative analysis that you get rid of some data, not change it. Yeah, because you can see some outlier. That's why, especially in statistics, that there's many ways how to arrive at the valid results, right? Both externally and internally. Yeah, both in external validity and internal validity. So as long as you already follow that procedure, yeah, transparent in the way how you do it, how you manage your data, it's fine. So I agree with you. It's sometimes hard to detect. Yeah, it's really hard to detect. So in the end, it begs to you how honest you are with yourself, what actually you would like to find. So I agree. It is quite hard, of course. That's why in many institutions they have the special committee for academic integrity. Yeah, because once it is open to the public, then you have problem, of course. Not only you, but also your institutions, right? So it's easier said than done, of course. In the end, when you do research, what actually do you want to have? It is just a paper, a fame, or you want to reveal some truths, right? So then ask yourself, if it's you want to reveal some truths, if you then manipulate the data, will you get the truth? You know it by yourself. It's not the truth, right? So it's actually in the end to satisfy your own curiosity. That's academic practice should be. Yeah, it's not to show people that you are good at something. It is for yourself, that to satisfy your curiosity. You have a problem, you have a question that you would like to answer. Can you answer with this data? If not, then you cannot. Then you find another way, not to manipulate the data to arrive at the answer you would like to have, right? So yeah, it's hard. But again, why? If I ask why do you do PhD, of course, there's many reasons for that, right? So first, because maybe it can propel your career or something like that. You have a better position. But in the end, because we have, can you shift it a little bit that we have curiosity, that you need to fulfill your curiosity. That's why you do the research. You try to find the answer to that question. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. So even in a very respectable institutions, I know there are some people who did that. Yeah. So in the Netherlands, it becomes big issues before because some prominent scholars been expelled from the university because he did something wrong. Yeah. So the latest one, for instance, I don't know. Other bigs like even in Oxford, Cambridge, sometimes we also heard that. So how to combat that? Yeah, as I mentioned before, in the end, it needs collective effort, and it needs vigilant individual also in the end. So whether it's good or not, yeah, I still believe that many people in academia still have a good heart. So that's what we are, right? Hopefully. All right. So I don't know whether I answered your question, Bu Nuraida, but hopefully give you away. Yeah.
Any other question? We have still time, 30 minutes more. Maybe they look so tired, Dr. Ary, because in the morning at 10 o'clock, we already here. Okay. If there is any question. Question, please. Nothing? Okay.
No.
We should appreciate to Dr. Ary, yeah, because he has give time for us in the
thank you, Bu Sri.
in his busy activity. I think we hope we will meet again. We will meet in Medan.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah,
hopefully, Bu.
Yes.
Yeah.
How long you not come to Sumatra?
Oh, I think I visited USU last year, if I'm mistaken, right? Pak Sambas, when we met. When did we meet before? In October or November?
Yes, last
right?
year.
Oh, last year.
Yes,
Last year. Yeah, yeah.
year.
And afterwards, some delegation from USU came to my university, Nijmegen. It calls Nijmegen. I know it's hard to spell it, Bu Sri. It's not Nijmegen, but Nijmegen. I know it's not a very famous city in Netherlands.
Nijmegen.
You only know Amsterdam, perhaps Rotterdam. But the city where I live called Nijmegen. Yeah, I know. It's written down as Nijmegen, but you write you read it as Nijmegen.
Yeah, Nijmegen.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can come back again to Medan.
Oh yeah, hopefully. Waiting for the invitation from Pak Sambas.
Sure, inshallah. Inshallah. Sure.
Yeah. Many things we can do together. All right. So
what we do now? I think
there's no other question.
Any other?
If not, then perhaps we can leave
Maybe
it in
I
here.
have a question more, Doctor.
Oh wow! Okay. Yes, please.
About justify. Justify is part of critical thinking too.
Justify.
How to justify?
What do you mean by justify?
Justify something when we want to build a hypothesis.
Oh,
develop hypothesis. We need justifying about to relate the theory to the problem. I think. To the variable.
Yeah, I think in the end, what we would like to do is provide as strong as possible evidence or reasoning for our argument. Right? That's in the end what we would like to do. Yeah, and it's also related to academic integrity. We should be open to, of course, we try to justify our idea by through the data we have and through the previous research done by other scholars, right? But the thing is, I think it's also very, very important that we should be able to show what is the limitation. Yeah. So because I do not think we can find exactly a complete justification with our hypothesis. Yeah, first, it is already completely the same as others, so there's nothing new that we can offer, of course, right? But if it has not been done before, and we try to find justification for that, so it cannot be directly related to our issues. So it's never complete in my opinion. Yeah. So that's why it's good to find justification to our hypothesis, to our statement. Yeah. But we should also be able to find any counter argument to unjustify perhaps our hypothesis. That in the end, we can give a complete argument why we choose this instead of the other. Yeah. So it's both critical and also part of academic integrity, in my opinion. It's not only to present other works that agree with what we would like to say, but also be able to show what if there's disagreement to what we're going to say based on previous studies. So it's not only, again, it's not only to justify what we would like to say, but also to provide as complete as possible different opinion about what we are going to say. So I don't know whether it's clear or not, my answer, but I hope it gives you some ideas about what I'm going to say.
Yes, it's clear. Okay, because there is no question more. So I think we almost at the end of this session.
Okay.
I realized it's not easy to transfer or to create and transfer the idea in writing.
Yes. Yeah.
How people can understand what we the objective of our study, then they can follow our writing from the beginning until the conclusion.
Yeah.
So this lecture today maybe can open our mind, yeah, how to write academic writing in a good way. I hope it's very helpful for us, Dr. Ary. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can meet again, maybe next year or in this year, depend on the presentation of Mr. Sambas. Yeah, Dr. Sambas. Yeah.
Inshallah, inshallah. Or maybe Dr. Ary can invite us to Nijmegen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. Invitation is easy, Pak.
All right, all
It's
right.
a pleasure.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Yeah.
But the budget is something else, of course.
Okay.
We have to prepare the budget first.
Yeah. All right.
You have to prepare the budget. Yeah.
But I thank you also very much to Pak Sambas, Bu Sri, and I'm sorry if in the way I deliver my lecture doesn't meet your expectation or is not really clear. Yeah, because I'm not from, as mentioned in the beginning, I don't have any background in accountancy, but still you invite me in this event. So I feel very, very honored, and I hope maybe in one way or another we can collaborate, because I discussed with Pak Sambas. Actually, urban planning also need, who doesn't need accountant, right? We always need accountant. And my work usually relate to the public domain. When we talk about urban planning, it's always usually related to public domain. And we need accountable urban planner, of course, and perhaps to do so, we need the support from an accountant.
Inshallah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Okay. I give back the time to Miss. Who did it?
Saka.
Saka, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, to our amazing moderator, Dr. Sri Mulyani, and of course our amazing lecturer, Dr. Datuk Ary, for an insightful session on developing integrity and critical thinking skills in academic writing. And on behalf of the hosting committee, I would like to give a certificate of appreciation to our lecturer, Dr. Datuk Ary Adriansyah Samsura, STMSC. Thank you, Dr. Datuk Ary, for attending and sharing with us. And also, this is the certificate, and please accept the certificate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. And also now we are going to take picture together, and to the all participants, please turn on your camera. Okay, and for the first slide, 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, one more at first slide, 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, next slide. Okay, enough. And thank you so much to the all participants. Now we have reached the end of our agenda. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope you've gained valuable insight and knowledge from today's lecture. We are genuinely appreciative of your active participation. We also want to extend our sincere apologies if any mistake occurred, whether technical glitches, content-related issue, or any other aspect that didn't meet your expectation. And also, I have an announcement for tomorrow lectures. Due to unforeseen circumstances, there will be only one session tomorrow, August 24th at 2 p.m. Jakarta time, which is the lecture on managerial accounting for decision making and planning by Dr. Mujib Saif Al-Abshi for Gulf University Bahrain. Wow. And the lecture on e-tax implementation and threats by Dr. Nufransa Wirasakti Eskom MEC will be rescheduled to Friday, August 25th at 8 a.m. Jakarta time. And once again, thank you so much and see you all tomorrow.